Hey, everybody, welcome to this 28th edition of the Small Ball Podcast. We are here on a Wednesday night. We are getting right into the MLB regular season. College baseball is about halfway through conference play. A little league, rec ball, travel ball, all that stuff is rolling right along. I'm Charlie Rogers. He's Chancey Rogers, and we're going to discuss all that tonight. But first, Chancey, how's it going, brother?
Oh, it's going great, Charlie. We as always, just coming off the field or coming out of the facility. We done a little field practice today with Nolan 7U Bulls team. They had a tournament 4 games in 3 days and some in 4 days. Nolan had a rec game. Day was tough on them. They beat some good teams and that fifth game that it was going to be pretty tough. They went 3-2 on the weekend, and I knew they were going to struggle physically, mentally, emotionally, everything. In the 7 group, how that is, but they're getting their tournament legs under them. That's the third tournament, and most of them, you go, on Sunday you win a couple games, you're in the championship, but it was not the case. We had to play 3 and possibly 4. So that was tough on them. But, we got them on the field today, and Coach Harrington ran them a little bit and done some conditioning drills in between, some stuff, just kind of get used to it. And I think the coaches are kind of seeing, too, that that's an important part of all this, too.
Yeah, those long weekends, I remember those long weekends with the young ones are tough. Once you get, especially when it gets super hot, once you get to about that third, fourth game, it's tough to keep them focused, most of them, and then they just start getting tired, man. They're wore out.
I
think I lost you there. You with me?
You lost me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, you were breaking up. You were breaking up, and then I lost you for a second. But I got you now.
My streaming issue, but Nolan played his butt off though. Made some plays that I haven't seen him make yet. He had a couple double ups, like some balls drive. He's getting used to like kids coming off that bag on a line drive or a fly ball that sometimes don't get caught in 7U. So they're used to like go 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 go, and he goes and catches it. He went. He had to leave his feet a little bit over his shoulder, come up and threw him out at first. And so that's pretty cool to see. I was able to sit back and behind the fence and video. So, and the cool thing about Cornerstone up here, which we the last time, is the camera. So I was able to go back and pull some footage and get that. And so I've got a little highlight reel on YouTube. Some of you YouTube people that listen in, you can go to the page and you'll see it for the weekend. And that's kind of my old VHS recording. I'm gonna be able to look back and hopefully when he's in college one day, like, yep, I got all that on film.
So you did get logged into you did get logged into the camera system and made all that work.
Yeah, I paid for it for 3 months. That way I could pull rec videos and stuff too. We had some good rec hits and stuff the first week. So we played in Starkville this week. So I was able to pull that. I tried to do from the side as well. I missed the really good play. He had a couple, diving catches like line drives, and little bloopers, 7U line drives really. But it was cool. He played his butt off, and one of his coaches talked about y'all learned how to empty your tank, and that was I thought that was a good point. Like a lot of them don't know how to push themselves past that, and so that was a good weekend to do that. It wasn't too hot, but it was just the mental and emotional endurance, physical too. I mean, they were, you could tell they were sluggish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's especially if you're playing, close games or intense games, and really in coach pitch, they're all intense because it's constant.
They come back. Yeah, they come back you might be 7, 8 runs up, but they have one big inning, they're right back in it, and then you could have a 1, 2, 3, thinking your top hitters are up, and they hit little weak on balls out at the pitcher or something, and it's like, oh no, but
Mm-hmm.
it's fun.
Yeah, we played this weekend too. We went 1, 2, and 1. We ended up tying a game on Saturday, but so we did okay. We didn't quite make it to the championship game. Jackson hit 2 home runs. I've been telling Chancey for a couple weeks now. He's hitting the ball hard. There's one coming, and he hit 2 on Sunday. So 1 in each game on Sunday. So he was excited. I was proud of him, and yeah.
Yeah, I got to see the video, and I was like, of course, all these years watching him, and you kind of know it's going to come eventually, and you want it for him because this is the year,
Yeah.
and it don't come for everybody. I didn't, which I was a tiny tight at 12. The way my birthday was, I was 12.
Yeah.
The cool weekend to have too.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, good memories, and just keep trying to build on it. Like we were talking about before we came on, we'll be in South Haven in a couple of weeks, and then a couple different places. So just try to keep building on it and go from there. You may have to get you. You may have to go inside and get. You may have to go inside and get closer to the router.
Is it freezing up?
Yeah.
Huh. No, there ain't no way. They're always streaming. You just scoot a little closer. Let me turn my phone off Wi-Fi. Allie says, I don't think that.
She's the doctor. She's the doctor. She would know.
Here's the doctor. Yeah. Is it choppy or am I freezing?
It's choppy. It's choppy.
Is it still choppy?
No, let's go with it right there. It seems better there.
I just scooted it like closer. So it says it's got good Wi-Fi.
Well, it's choppy again now. But we can
let me I can come back on the phone.
I mean, I think we may be okay. Let's roll with it a little bit longer, and then if it's still messing up, we'll switch it out. So you mentioned rec, you mentioned Nolan's rec team, and that was one of the topics we wanted to talk about tonight. Tell us what the name of that rec team is again.
It is Starkville Rec 7U Small Ball Podcast, baby.
The Small Ball Podcast.
Oh yeah, we've got some dudes and some dudes that's never played before. We got some dudes that's experienced, and we are 3-0 so far. So
3-0. So that is have those been blowouts? Are y'all like killing folks or what?
2 of them were a blowout. Monday was a walk-off. So Monday, again, we had a long weekend. Well, all the rec team, our whole Bulls team is split up throughout the rec.
That's the whole crew right there.
That's the whole crew. I'm learning some of their names. But I've named some of them. One of them's named Snack Bar because he keeps telling me he's bringing snacks every week. So I call him Snack Bar. We got Big Z over there, Zion Kemp. He will block somebody one day, I promise you. Next to him, from the right going left, that is Jay Yarbrough, and I promise you, I will put him up against any other 7-year-old on a foot race. He is one of the fastest kids I've ever seen. He can roll. Is that Cole? Yeah, Cole. I think that's Maddox, and then Big Bo's in the catching gear. You got Jackson Kane, the Nolan
this
Walters.
is this the fast guy right here?
That is Jay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, he looks fast.
He can run. But y'all see the uniforms there. I've had, multiple compliments on these uniforms. Everybody loves their uniforms. We ordered off Amazon some lime green socks and belts, and so everybody loves the bright colors and the all black, and it looks good.
That's the back. So the green numbers.
Yeah, yeah. So my number is 28. It's like a big deal. Nolan's number is 28, but in Starkville Rec, you don't pick numbers. They just give you uniforms and whatever size.
Yeah.
So like Zion, he's number 12 because that's the largest number it goes to, the largest shirt size. Well,
right.
Nolan was able to get 2. That's his buddy Hodson. He got number 8. So we're putting them together and make 2-8. The fun thing is Layla's playing softball and she's number 8. So I got my 2-8 and the 2 kids.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So
there's Nolan.
That's his buddy Hodson Lack. He said he was going to give him a shout out because we just left practice with him. But he, you see, they got the hats on because they were already gave his daddy a small ball hat before we even sponsored. But the rec haven't gave hats out, so they get to wear whatever hat they want to. So Nolan and Hodson, it's they're kind of the sport kids. They play on the Bulls team together. So Hodson's our first baseman and catcher.
Now who? Let's see. I'm just looking through these pictures here. Who's this dude here?
That's Lemire. That's Lemire's last name. I had it pulled up.
Lemire looks cool.
Lemire Thurman. Lemire Thurman. He's got to look about it. He wore some shades that day, and I told him I was going to take his picture. He put them shades on. His dad helps us a little bit. First year, Lemire's playing baseball, so he's learning a lot. But he's got a little cool side of him. He's kind of shy, but when I told him I was going to take that picture, he kind of his personality came out a little bit.
He went and got his shades, even though it's you look in the background, it's pitch black out there, dark.
I'm sure it's about 8 o'clock right about that time.
But hey, he it's all about the look, man. He's gotta have his shades on.
And that's Hodson next to him too. So Lemire's a big boy, big strong boy. I think he plays football. I think it's either his brother. Yeah, I think it's his brother. Still playing a little football somewhere. He was telling me. A lot of football kids.
This is one. This is one right here. Yeah.
Yes. So Zion Kemp, he plays for the Steelers, the Starkville Steelers. So Starkville's they got like travel football teams, tackle football teams.
Mm-hmm.
The Cowboys are famous. Like they'll have a float in the parade. It's a big deal, and they travel around and play these football games. And Zion is substantially taller, wider, stronger than a lot of 7-year-olds out there. Like those two are normal size kids he's standing by.
Yeah.
But same thing, first year playing baseball, and Zion's got one of the more open personalities on the team, and we have a lot of fun with him, and he's learning a lot too. But he makes me want to go watch these games because I don't see too many kids getting past him.
No. So is he an offensive lineman? Is that what he says?
Yes, sir. He plays offense and defense.
Good for him. And he's learning. You said he's learning to hit, huh? He's getting better at hitting.
We're working on that hit, and he's strong, but the flexibility isn't quite there. And I'm working on him learning how to catch because I told him he's probably going to have to play first in his life, and so we're going to learn how to catch the ball. He plays catcher for us a little bit on rec, but we got him. We got Bo. Bo likes catching. We plays pitcher some. To the left there is Jackson Kane. We actually added him on the Bulls team. He plays shortstop for Rick. I moved Nolan over to third to give him a break and to catch Jackson up, let him learn some middle infield. So he's kind of right now been our utility guy this weekend. He played this first tournament with us, done a good job. But Jackson's got a brother that plays travel ball, so he kind of knows about it, but didn't have a team. And I said, buddy, we gotta get you rolling because you already had a little bit. So he does a good job at short, and he hits in 2-hole for us, and and does a good job.
Is Zion lefty or righty?
He's righty, I guess.
Okay.
I haven't looked at him on the left side.
Still trying to figure that out.
His rotation movement is not great. He's more up and down. He can probably shoot lefty or righty.
He's more O lineman type right now.
Yes, sir.
Let's see. We got a couple more pictures. Let me pull up. Here's one of you guys. I guess getting ready, getting prepped, ready, stretched out for a game.
Yeah, a few of them there. Nolan in the middle, and like every typical rec game, there's going to be 4 or 5 that show up just right in the nick of time for that game. Yep. So me, I'm at a certain time they start stretching. So Nolan's learning how to lead a little bit, and that's kind of the fun part about this. And again, we play against our buddies, and most of the dads that are coaches I know now, because their dad's on the Bulls team. It's cool kind of being able to teach them a little stuff that really hadn't got to in travel ball yet. And you play every week here, so you get a little bit of a routine, and I think it's good for them.
I like those uniforms. I like the socks and the belt.
They stand out, and we put up a 26 spot on somebody the other day, and everybody was kind of, they come around watching like that all black team. They look pretty good. We hit a few balls to the outfield. That was me and him. I had the original small ball on that night, and I think that was the night we rolled pretty good. Nolan had a couple home runs. He actually got to swing his wood bat, hit one with his wood bat because we was up 20. So I told him to swing his wood.
Well, and if you're gonna wear neon colors, you better be good.
Well, we're trying to hold that up. We had that tight one Monday. We played against our buddy Josiah Johnson and Cruz Bailey, who played with us with the Bulls, and they had us 8-5, and we come back and beat them right there. Last time it was home team, and it was kind of a good defensive game. It was a better one that we've been a part of yet. Nolan made a couple plays at third, but Josiah, if y'all follow me on TikTok, I posted a ball he hit. Speaking of balls going very far, he hit one about 10 feet from the fence on a 225 field.
Oh wow!
This ball, 7-year-old. He is a very strong. He's a football player. He plays with Zion. He's a linebacker, and so his dad's from St. Louis, and we met him last year. He played basketball with us, and he wanted to get Josiah into baseball and have somebody like teach him. And so I've loved him, and I treat him like mine. And we've been working for a good year and a half of getting the swing going. So we put him in the leadoff spot this week, and Nolan hit some 2-hole, and Nolan didn't have as many RBIs this week. I'm just gonna say that because Joe launched some balls and hit a bunch of home runs.
Yeah.
Yes, he hit. I think he hit 3 that were like legit. I compared them to Dolis Garcia type launch angle on it with strength. The big one he hit really looked like him. He didn't know who he was, so of course, when this rolling to the Rangers, but just really, really strong backside and strong core, and then great extension. Swings and miss sometimes, but when he gets it there, good Lord, it goes a long way. And he was using the new kind of fad of the black emerald, and he got a barrel with that black emerald, and I was on the third base side of the fence, and it was special to watch. It just jumped. It looked fake. It was like, oh goodness. Oh goodness.
Well, I've seen that in 7U. I saw just a second ago that our buddy Mike Caldwell joined, and he's watching. And I've seen some shots in 7U from his son now. Mitchell's always been able to send them for sure. But it's super exciting. You mentioned it just a second ago. Especially in coach pitch, everybody kind of hits. Like it's lots of action, lots of hitting. But what you really get excited about in coach pitch, 7U, 8U, that kind of stuff is the defense. When your team plays good defense, that's what's fun to watch. That's what's exciting.
Okay.
And so it sounds like you guys do some of that. And that was one of the things that we always did really well was, everybody gets to hit because the coach is essentially throwing to the bat.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can make defensive plays at 7 years old, 8 years old, that's really fun to watch.
Oh yeah, I remember you guys like having plays at the plate and doing cutoffs and that was a big deal. I've been posting that and we had one where our first relay, Nolan threw it from the outfield to Hodson and got him out. I got it on video too, and we had a couple that should have been outs, but of course the umpire was wrong and terrible, and I had to hear all that. Like, oh, we should have that, but it's they made the play. That's all I care. I care less if they score or not, as long as they do the relay. And tags were good, and we're learning that stuff, and it's just getting better and better at it. And once they do it, then the excitement of it comes, and now they expect ball hit out there, they expect to do it. So that's happening already, and a lot of good stuff. I mean, like I said, Nolan getting those double ups where he used to like catch it, hesitate, like run to the guy, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He had one that was just like he didn't have to move, just catch it, and he caught him almost like double played him, just quick through him. I was like, oh, where'd you see that? I didn't teach him that. It just, it's just the game taught him that. And that
comes with reps. Yeah,
it comes with reps, and that's what I tell people is like there's only so much we can do, and even me being a trainer, I can hit him a bunch of ground balls and teach him how to hit, but the game has to teach the rest of it, and so playing those games are so important, and so just getting that tournament in and getting a lot of games was, I think, they had practice tonight, is the best I've ever seen them, and now Monday they all were just pitiful, but after a couple of days of rest, they had some energy. Nolan was hyped. Coach made sure they didn't leave that hype because he ran
wore them out.
Yeah, he wore them out, and that's again like making them feel empty in their tank. Even more pushing that limit, and I think it's valuable just as they go forward as athletes and anything else. Like, oh, I don't want to do this today because I'm tired. Kids got to learn how to push past tired sometimes.
Talking about the defensive plays and the things that you learn over the years, we talked about Jackson's, hit a couple home runs this weekend, but I told him, I said, that's cool that you hit home runs. And I was like, Coach Chancey's going to be super proud, because he's been telling you that's coming. I was like, but you know what he's going to be even more proud of? And he was like, what? Chancey, they had it was in the game that we tied. So it was, no, it wasn't. This was Sunday. Anyway, it was in the game that we won. Kid hit the ball, hit it off the fence, and it kind of rolled down the fence a little bit. And right fielder, we ran it was perfect cut three. And you could hear Jackson at third yelling the whole time, lining up. Kerry Norris was at short, and I think Wiley was in right field, and you could hear him lining him up. Good throw to the shortstop. He made a good turn and got it. Jackson. We threw him out by 5 steps. I mean, he didn't have.
Yeah,
he didn't have a chance.
That makes me proud. But Jackson does. He always has, especially last year. Because that was kind of my pet peeve. And Jackson's one of them that likes to please, and and that's one thing he definitely can control is just the communication. And I noticed it. We done a club review last week, and I hadn't seen him in a while. And we, just doing cuts and stuff, and I'd hear it, and it don't trigger me because I'm not on the field with a team that I would just automatically know that it was Jackson because we had 2 teams out there. And I look up as Jackson. I was like, hey, that boy, I remember you love, you love knowing that that's the right thing to do. And then when it comes to the game and it happens, it's just even that much better. It makes them appreciate doing little things right.
Yeah, it was cool. I'll send you the video of it because it was on Game Changer, and you can hear him yelling. And then, like I said, Kerry did a good job too, getting the ball and turning it. And like I said, runner didn't have a chance, and so it was perfect from the fence to third.
Yeah, send that to me because I love putting that on my my regular training page and stuff because I like posting stuff like that and talking about it, because that's the kind of stuff that we celebrate home runs and stuff. Of course, we got to do that, but yeah, that's the stuff that at the end of the day. You can hit as many home runs as you want, but if you don't know how to play baseball and do the little things right, you're gonna have trouble finding your spot on the field at any level.
Yeah, like I said, I told him I was like, yeah, the 2 home runs are great, but I said Coach Chancey's gonna be more proud of that cut at third that you guys did. It was perfect. So that was good. Anything else on rec ball or the small ball team? Anything else you got on that before we move on?
No. I just I appreciate so I post pictures on our Instagram. So if you don't follow us, we got an Instagram, Facebook, and a lot of stuff I put on my TikTok as well. But Starkville Parks and Recs, because I tagged them in it, they shared it, and we got a few little followers. We got a little tick up in our followers. So if y'all are new listeners, appreciate the follow, and we try to do this every week, and go back and listen to old episodes. We got some good ones. I've had people ask about it, like even people that I've known since I moved here, like, I didn't know you did a podcast. And, yeah, go check it out. And so that was probably my most successful sponsorship so far, just because I've had more people like, hey, I saw you sponsoring the team. What is that? It's a podcast. Just go. We're everywhere. We're on every platform, and so and of course the way we've got this set up is perfect for our rec ball dads. This show. Interested in baseball, you can learn some stuff. That you got a dad perspective, coach perspective. A lot of times we have Joe Gray on here, and I told him the whole dynamic of it, and then we have guests, and so it's a good way to learn. And man, I'm glad I'd done that. It was kind of last year I'd done the Bulls, and I was like, I'm gonna do the podcast and see what kind of traction that gets. And it's gotten like everybody loves it. They're like, oh, they're the cool team,
Yeah, it is cool, and you mentioned, you told me the other day, hey, we got a lot of new subscribers, new followers from that, and also from the show that we did with Kayla Davenport a couple weeks ago, and so appreciate her coming on, and she was very helpful, very knowledgeable. It was nice to have a female guest on here every once in a while, so she did a good job.
That's just a neat thing for me, because I mean, when everybody asks about Starkville and stuff, it's the first time I've experienced having a Parks and Recs program like we have, and I kind of want to build off of it, and I'm learning stuff, and I've been in this business a while, and this is kind of new territory for me, and it's exciting. It's like I want to we always joke about making rec ball great. I see how it can be good. Now, mind you, every year Allie keeps saying Nola's not doing it again, just like every travel ball parent wants to, because how much is Nolan getting better, because of the level of talent so much lower. But I see other stuff they're getting better at. So like if you can get tunneled in the right direction, it can be good, and especially have a good structure. It's important. So I don't know. I just it excites me, because I kind of like having a bunch of games. I like having more games. But to do it this much, you gotta like it. And not everybody likes it as much as I do. I get it, but it's been fun so far. Just with football, soccer, basketball for sure, and having baseball. So.
Well, we just mentioned about him learning, learning to turn 2 on those line drives and seeing the runner get off. It's about, we said just a minute ago, it's all about reps. And so a lot of times that's what, we played both for years. We played both for a long time. And a lot of times it's just a matter of getting those at bats. That was the main reason we were doing it, is to get those at bats, get those reps in the field. Jackson's not a shortstop, but in rec ball, he plays some shortstop and, that kind of stuff.
It probably helped him to prepare himself to play third.
Yeah, right. And so, a lot of times it's just for those reps and you learn the game and that kind of stuff. I was reading some comments here. Oh, and my cousin Aaron Rogers is on. He's watching us on Facebook, and he said it seems like it would help with leadership skills for the kids that don't play travel ball. And it does. I think there's a big element of that. We talk about the baseball skills, but there's so many other things, social skills, leadership skills, things that you can learn just from being out there with other kids.
Oh yeah, and it's and I think once we kind of started pulling out travel ball, then the number of teams came down. Even though the number of every city's breaking records every year, but it's not like the 10% is not playing. But if you add those 10% in and add a couple more teams, we've got a bunch of 7U teams, and so we're able to there's 2 or 3 that play. We're the only 7U in town, but we have 2 7U. One 7U has a bunch of 6U, so half of them playing 6U in rec, and they're playing 7U travel ball again. But every team we play has got a couple of his buddies on there. So yeah, they're the leader. Like the team we played Monday, Cruz Bailey. He does not play in the infield on our team, but he's a shortstop. And so, yeah, and he made some plays. I was so proud of him because, not as aggressive kid as Nolan. He's actually our neighbor right over here. Shout out to Cruz, man. I've been proud of him, and that was big. He struggled this weekend at the plate a little bit with some timing issues, but then came in and rec and I think he hit a home run in rec, hit a good ball to the outfield and made it around and made some plays. That's so important. And yeah, he's a shortstop, kind of a leader, and there's no doubt your cousin nailed it, because I'm seeing it in Nolan where he does have that leader mentality, and a lot of it's just by playing, just because he's probably the most aggressive player on the field, and the team kind of relies on him to be that guy. But I see him help kids that have no clue, I don't know where to go with the ball, and he's like, "Hey, 2-2 right here, let's go. Hey, you get it, touch the bag." I've seen him tell them, instead of "Hey, we're going 2 here, guys," where a kid that plays rec and never played baseball, but they might not know what that means. He'll be like, "Hey, you get it, touch the bag." Just little they're communicating in their world. I think that's important. So,
it's very important. And then there's also the whole element of, like you said, kids struggled in the tournament this weekend, but did well in the rec ball game. There's some element of confidence too, right? He's down on himself. He gets in this rec ball game and gets that confidence back up, because we know baseball is extremely mental. Yeah. And if you get in a slump, you get down on yourself, that just builds. And so, I always liked it, because say we whatever player didn't have a great weekend. Well, now he doesn't have to wait 2 weeks to play again. No. He can flush it, go play on Tuesday night and do well. And then the confidence is back up. Exactly. And so I think there's a lot to that too.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's just, it's managing it. It's, I can see how it can get hard, but ours is just, we're able to do it, and we're able to have our Wednesday practices, which it kind of sucks with church and stuff, but we move it around. They practice on the weekend some. There's ways to do it, and it's just I think we get real caught up in our travel team, and everybody knows this. I'm in the business, but I speak the truth on some stuff and the reality of stuff, and I love the fact that our kids are playing basketball, and yeah, we got to miss some practices, but also, I don't want it to be like, oh, well, we got to go to this practice because coach called a practice. You can still go hit, and you still go take ground balls on a day you're off. I think we get caught up and now that Jackson's older and played on a couple teams, we get caught up in our team stuff to where it's like, what are we working on as a team anyway? Like we're learning first and thirds, learning butt coverages. We're especially when they get 12, we've kind of covered everything. Now it just kind of becomes reps. They kind of know what to do or should. There might be a few things we need to work on, like after we have a tournament and we screwed up on a pick play or a rundown or something like that. But it's not a whole lot. It's not like it's so necessary to be at those practices and the coaches are going to kill me. I got players missing. No, I'm just saying, don't downgrade them. Just say, hey, look, get your reps in. Figure out a way to get your reps in, and then coaches figure out a way to move it around. So I just think there's a way. I mean, I've done it as a coach. I've done it. I've helped coaches. I'm seeing it now having a kid that plays 4 different sports. You just gotta make sure you get it in. You can't just say, oh, he's got soccer, and then not hit all week. You got a way to go hit. And so I think there's a way and there's some sacrifice that people don't like to do. Sometimes.
Right, that's true. And there's yes, you can get that stuff on your own, but you got to go get that stuff on your own, right? I mean, because they're at the age, especially at Jackson's age, but the older they get, the more that stuff shows up when you don't do it, right? At younger ages, you can get by with not getting a whole lot of reps just based off talent. But man, the older you get, it shows up when you're not working on your own.
Yeah, you're not prepared, and it becomes people talk about you make it where you take it too serious or you make it like a job or something. I remember my coach telling me in high school, this is your job. And so, not taking it like, this is my whole life. But if you do treat it like your job, because they don't have jobs, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you treat it like it's your job, where you're on time, you take it serious, you work hard, you do extra stuff. When they do get jobs, they're more prepared than most people, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And you can ask. I always see it in the insurance business. Look out there. They always want to hire baseball players, and it's because of that, in my opinion. So yeah, you kind of treat it like, all right, we got to go to school. School and whatever your extracurriculum is, that's your job. And treat it that way, and have fun doing it. It's a fun job. It's a job, but it's a fun job. So I think everybody wants to have a fun job. So yeah, but you can't just say, well, I had soccer, I had basketball. You still got to go hit, and it rolls into when you got college. Well, I've got midterms. You still got to go hit. You still got, you can't just use that as a thing. And so
it's going to show up. It's going to show up if you don't.
And it rolls in all the way. And we're supposed to be talking about big leagues. And I thought we was going to segue a while ago, but I saw a TikTok the other day of one of the guys. I don't know who it was. Anyway, it was some. Remember, I showed it to you. Who was it? Maybe it was one of the Braves. I don't know. But yeah, it was a TikTok where he had the cage in his house. It was like it literally had a cage like in his sunroom, like, and he had his infant in a little rocking thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got a sword cage and he's hitting in the house, just hitting it up against the thing, and it was really cool. And I saw Freddie Freeman do it at his pool during the off season.
You do what you got to do.
You do what you got to do. You can't I'm here at the house with my family. You get it. You got to spend family time, but it's your job. So it's there's some sacrifices. So I think that starts early. And there's too much. You can't play every weekend to consume, and you can't. You got to just kind of choose your own little deal. But definitely, I think I said it earlier about emptying your tank. Like, see how much they can handle. And her me and Allie talked about, like, that was a lot for a 6-year-old, no doubt. But it's good to see how much he can handle. Yeah, he needs a break. We need to take a day off, breathe a little bit. Had a really good day today, and really good practice, and day at school, and that probably came from that pushing and, like, it helps them grow up instead of just like, oh, you're tired. Here's
Yeah, I don't think it hurts.
No,
I don't think it hurts.
no.
So you mentioned segueing into MLB. We're going to talk a little bit about that. You got your Rangers gear on. I was watching the Reds play earlier. Chancey, can you tell me who has the best record in baseball right now?
I can tell you who had the best record in AL. It was the Rangers, but not anymore. No, I cannot. But no, hold on. It's got to be Dodgers.
It's not.
It's not. It was.
It's not the Dodgers. This team has a 2-game lead in the MLB standings. A 2-game lead on the Dodgers.
Are they in their division?
It's possible. Let me check. I'm not good with those. Yes, they are in their division, actually.
All right. So, Padres? Is it Padres?
It is. San Diego Padres sitting at 15-4.
That's right now. The Cubs. Cubs have a good record. They're doing well.
Yeah. San Diego Padres. Yeah, the Cubs have been on fire here lately, which is a problem for the Reds. The Reds got beat tonight by the Mariners. They had won 4 in a row. They got beat tonight by the Mariners. So the Reds are in 3rd place in the NL Central. Cubs are in 1st. The Brewers in 2nd. And then in the Rangers division, the Rangers still lead the division in the AL West.
It should be just a half game because they're playing the Angels, and the Angels was up, but we beat them last night. We're up 3-1 right now in the 7th.
Yep, half game lead on the Angels. Rangers sitting at 10-7. Rangers sitting at 10-7.
I do pull up standings, but I usually just slide right to the AL because it don't matter until we get deep. But I'll start getting, as I see it. I'll watch highlights, mainly on my phone. I got the MLB package. When you got now that they merged finally with MLB Network, you got MLB Tonight and stuff you can watch, and so I kind of watch that. But I like watching the condensed games. We got Jake Bingham playing with Tampa Bay. I kind of root for him just because he's a real baseball player and just like he's exciting. In fact, I ran into Tanner Allen, who's been on the podcast at where were Panda Express. Was getting some Panda Express, and Tanner Allen's in there, and probably one of the most famous people in Starkville at the moment.
Oh yeah,
and we talked about Jake, and they were up 4-0, and I think India. No, it wasn't India. It was Lau. So it's not Lowe, but it's spelled Lowe, but they call him Lau.
Lau Nathaniel.
Yeah, not Nathaniel. Nathaniel is Lowe.
Okay.
There's another one that's spelled the same exact way, but they don't call him like he got on to the announcers call him Lowe. Anyway, he hits a double or something, and Mangum scores from first, and he slides in. He just comes up and goes, "Wow, let's go!" And some of them big leaguers are like, "All right, kid," but that's just the way he plays, and it's just it's exciting. It's fun to watch, and
you can't change yourself. You got to be you.
And Jake definitely don't. So I turned that on, and a lot of I've talked to several of my lessons, at least 3 in the last 2 weeks. I promise. Asked me about MLB package just because they're Tampa Bay Rays fans now.
Really?
And I love it. I love it because like some of those kids, like me and Nolan really truly sits down and enjoys watching the Rangers. If you have a team like that, it's so good for young kids, man. Like, back in the old days, you just saw that more with WGN. People watch the Cubs.
Yep.
And then, TBS.
TBS.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then around the country, it's different things. You hear a lot of the old timers talk about radio stations or whatever, would broadcast games. And I really got into it more in my later years with when my stepdad would by back then it was MLB Extra Innings.
Extra innings.
On,
Yep.
on DirecTV, and so I would follow the Diamondbacks, and just like anybody I knew, and then he'd have them on, and I would be attracted to a player, like I like the way he looked or whatever, and then it just makes you watch it more. It makes you pay attention more, and
Absolutely. I think it's a great idea. Even if you don't have a team, pick one. Pick one, and even if you pick a front runner, it doesn't matter. Just enjoy it.
Here's the other thing. The World Baseball Classic gets it was so exciting 4 years ago or 3 years ago, and it's coming up 2026. And I'm not a Yankees fan, but Judge is going to be leading the pack there, and that's going to be real exciting. I mean, we're really going to get into it. So,
and that's a great opportunity to find a team. You find a player in there that you like, and then follow that player's team.
Exactly. But watch it, and it gets you. I mean, the little stuff, the interviews afterwards, just a lot of people don't like Bryce Harper, but Bryce Harper is I am not. I tell kids to watch him. He is not a bad dude to watch, and multiple reasons. Like, he's on TikTok all off season. People's talked about it. He makes a lot of stuff from scratch, and so he done TikTok on it. And TikTok reached out to him because he videoed a few things, like he'd make his kids chocolate snacks and stuff. They'd actually make it at home, and it's really cool. He makes his own little teas and protein drinks and stuff, and that's very interesting, to me, because it's that's a lot of effort. Somebody's got millions of dollars, and he's put in time to do this, and he does little stuff. So the other day, I don't know if you saw it, he done his gender reveal at the plate. At the plate. So.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, they bring him a blue colored bat. And so that's how he done a gender reveal to the world that he's having a little boy.
Cool.
That's cool. That's accepting that baseball is what you do. Baseball is my life. Everybody knows what's going on, and not being a turd. Some people think he's a turd. He's just competitive, guys. Read his book. He's uber competitive, and
he's super competitive, and the dude's been in the spotlight his entire life.
Entire life. He's almost he's like a Justin Bieber. Like when Bieber was getting in trouble a lot, that's almost expected. None of us would be able to handle what they handle, and so I just, Bryce comes from a good family too. I mean, his dad trained him and still throws BP to him and stuff. I mean, he's been through a lot, and for him to stay locked in, and of course Philadelphia loves him, and he's owned it, and he hadn't made all the right choices, and I'm sure he's said and acted in certain ways, and I remember it was a big thing about the Papelbon.
So so have we. We just haven't been in the spotlight our entire life.
He's in the spotlight, exactly, and he plays his tail off. He made a play the other day from first, and for all y'all, guys that people that fuss about positions you play and stuff. He was a catcher. Some people know, but he was a catcher in high school, and he obviously we've seen him in the outfield, and that's he got his paycheck there, but he got hurt. He had to move to first, and he's owned it, and he got better at it. But he made a play the other day. It was like a bunt play. He got the lead out at second. It was just so athletic and so aggressive, and just I love that kind of stuff because he's playing hard to get that one out. So that's just I enjoy watching. So there's one. Of course, a lot of people like Ohtani, and a lot of kids like Ohtani, and
Ohtani's fun to watch. There are a lot of players in the major leagues right now that are fun to watch. Ellie De La Cruz. You got Ohtani. You got Judge. You got a lot of guys that can really play, and even guys that I didn't name. There are a lot of them. And
there's some that are boring, that are fun to watch. Corey Seager is boring, but if us older people that just really get into it, he's one of the most mental preparing guys you've ever seen. Allie makes Nolan sometimes. She'll say, "Go do the Corey Seager," and he lays out and lets the sun hit him and kind of does his meditation for the game every game before he stretches. He just lays on his back and on the field. He's just getting his mind right. He's one of the most locked in players you'll ever see. We'll ever see. He got a hit tonight and just he gets affected by nothing. By nothing. The most emotional I've ever seen him is when he hit that 2-run bomb in the World Series. That's
understandable.
It was a very big deal. That was a very massive home run.
Yeah. So we've got the MLB package too, and Jackson will sit there and watch entire Reds games. Now he doesn't watch anybody else really, but when I came out here to do the podcast, he was watching a Reds game, and he'll sit there and watch them and learn.
You really can't follow more than one, really, because if you're really into it like that, and you're going to watch, start first pitch on, but I love watching the condensed games. Like I said, I think that's what started the whole Jake Mangum thing. I'll go see if he's got a hit, in which I'll do that on minor league stuff too. I'll go look at Dickerson and some of these other guys I know and just check on them and just see if they've done anything. And I just like following players. So again, kind of rolling back to the players, you don't have to be obsessed with a team, and I'm pretty obsessed, but I still like players, and I'll go pull up an Orioles game because I root for Jackson Holiday. I root for him. I think like as a baseball fan, you should want Jackson Holiday well because he is also one of them. Like just because his daddy was in the big league, that don't mean anything. It's not like like he's really good and he works. Him and his brother work really hard. There's a reason they're going to be back-to-back brother number one picks. Brother's going to be number one pick this year.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah, it is. And again, you don't get there just off your name. You can get somewhere off your name. You don't get there just off of
he was
name.
hitting 430 in Double A. I mean, you don't do that. You don't do that and not be good. But I watched. I'll get on that YouTube and I watched a bunch of videos of them, and they work, dude. Like, I mean, they're around. That's all they know. He's not gonna be able to change a tire or anything like that. Like, all they know is baseball. He can play ping pong really good. I think Daddy's into pickleball, but Daddy still hits with him. I mean, it's, obviously it's what they do. But they got a farm out in Oklahoma, and they got a big barn, and it's not filled with tractors. It is but it is a entertainment awesome facility. I mean, the big, hit tracks and a pickleball court and a ping pong and they got a great life and they've got the resources, no doubt. But you can have all that, and I've been to a place like that, and whoever's kid it was not that good.
Right, and you mentioned before talking about these Parker twins out here in Purvis. Tons of talent, but man, they work their butts off.
Yeah,
they don't just depend on the talent. And one of them's going to go probably top 10 in the draft.
Look, there's a good chance they hit more than anybody in our area. And I'm sure there's some like no way. Good. I want you to feel like I want you to know that I said they hit more than everybody, and try to go hit more because the old saying is players that hit often.
Right.
It's just it's the thing. So and of course I know players that play with them. They go hit with them. So it's a thing. And they're physical specimens too. And it just they definitely put in the work. You can look like that and have the athletic ability, but still not be good. You see it all the time. And being able to do that and and like that, and own like this is what I do. Again, kind of almost going back to the job. That's their job right now, and you kind of treat it that way, and you can have fun doing it too. But it makes you want to have a fun job.
Well, and being good at something is, especially for a competitive person, being good at something is fun.
Well,
right.
I listen to a lot of Gary V. You know who Gary V is?
No.
Well, okay, so Gary V. So his last name, I can't pronounce because that's what people call it. This is TikTok, but he is like so he's an entrepreneur, but he gets on TikTok and stuff a lot and talks about motivational things of just in life in general, like get off your butt and go do something type deal. And he talks about, he has one of my favorites because it talks about a 6-year-old, and I'll probably quote it wrong, but he says when you see a 6-year-old, an alpha 6-year-old that is upset because he failed or lost, and you go and tell him it's okay, it's just a game, then you're telling him that success is just not a big deal.
Right.
Indifference. There's indifference. You got to go look it up, make it the perfect quote. But my favorite part of that, he goes, when we do that, you could be sucking the magic out of a kid that's destined to be a magician. When he said that, I was like, I got chills. I was like, whoa, I never thought about it like that. And it was weird because this happened this weekend. Shout out Jeremy Falls. Nolan had a collision out in left field with Josiah, big strong kid, hurt Nolan's knee. Both of them came down. Josiah had to come out. Nolan can't come out. He can't come out. So I was like, "You good?" He got up walking. I was like, "No crying." He struck out first time ever. I was waiting on him. I was sitting on that fence, no crying. I was like, all right. I was proud of him because he's pretty competitive. I was waiting on him to come. I was like, all right. But when they got beat, he was letting it out like it was coming. It was hard for him to get in the huddle, and he's so competitive. Well, and I done got on like you got to clear that up and go listen to coach. Come on, let's go. Well, when they got done, he had shades on his head, and his coach told him, he said, put them shades on and make it to the car. So when you get to the car, just let it out, bro. He said, the reason you're able to make all those plays is the same reason you're upset right now, because it means something to you. So don't let nobody tell you no different. Just go let it out in the car, and
right.
And that's kind of the same thing. Like let them feel that. Let them. He's 6 also, and I used to be, and I still tell him like you got to get upset about the right thing. You don't want to lose. You don't want to lose at all. But you should feel that emotion when you gave it everything. It's fine.
It's got to matter. It's got to matter.
Got to matter. So figure out a way. Yeah, we don't want to be out there just pouting. But you got, especially when you got a game to play. But when it's over and you're upset, go let it out. I kind of like that. So, but Gary V, you would like Gary V a lot. I mean,
I need to look him up.
Yeah. So he still does he's an entrepreneur guy. If he can make $1, he'll do anything, including flip stuff. Like he goes to garage sales and flips it on eBay. And he says everybody should do it, and I've done it for a little bit, but it does take a lot of time. And I gotta do it. He makes it sound like it's so easy. It is kind of easy, but he's got a little help now. But he'll have people come to his motivational speeches and stuff, and they'll say, I'm 50 years old and I'm doing this and I'm not happy. And he's like, what are you good at? And they'll try to answer, find what you're good at. You've got plenty of time. Go do it. He said, I was 30 years old working in a liquor store doing this, and I found I was good at this, or and he kind of pushes you in that, motivates you a little bit. So he's exciting anyway. Shout out Gary V. He's social media superstar too.
Well, we mentioned earlier, Mike. We talk about Mike a good bit on here, Caldwell, but we played for him on his team for years, and one of the things that he said to our guys a lot of times, because there was a while where we didn't lose much. And when we would lose, there would be a lot of crying faces, a lot of pouting, a lot of upset kids. And he would tell them, it's supposed to hurt, right? That means you care. And so that was one of the big things that I always took from that. And hopefully the kids did too. But he would always say that. He's like, I know it hurts. It's supposed to hurt. If it didn't hurt, that means it didn't matter to you. And so
that whole group is a very competitive group where, we go lose a rec game and you gonna have two kids upset. And the rest of them wonder what snack we're bringing, and that's where the separation gets sometimes. And so somebody just said Gary V's the GOAT for sure.
Yeah, that's Quindell Daniels said he enjoys the baseball talk, and he said he'll be subscribing. Gary V's the GOAT.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's the trend for modern day entrepreneurs.
Yeah, no doubt. You would like him a lot, Charlie. Yeah, you got to check him out. You probably, when you see him, you probably seen him on TikTok or Instagram Reels or whatever. But yeah, Mike nails it, and he knows that group's so competitive, and you had a lot of kids that did that. And there's ways to manage it, and we don't need to be out there and just crying, but. Yeah, when it's over and you don't, we don't like to lose. That's good. And
yeah, I mean, we had lots of kids. We had lots of kids that when we would get those second place rings, they didn't want them.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't want them, and so they want to throw them in. Jackson threw his in the trash one time, and I made him dig it out, but because I didn't want him to act that way. But I liked the fact that he didn't want the second place ring.
Right. And there's some, my fuss about the tournaments and whatnot. There's some realistic stuff, with these tournaments that aren't realistic, right? So, like, you can't determine how good you are. You're the best team there on a Sunday. You just can't. And now, there's some teams that's in tournaments that are substantially better than other teams, and you can see that and whatnot. But there's no value in that, but there's the value in the ring is just the fact that we made it through the day, right? And so, but baseball is just different than that. That's why we play series, and that's and I'll definitely when we get the real announcement, I got it coming. We Columbia is locked in for the fall for MSBL, but we're going to do these series and I'm really going to push the fact that, like, you can go 2-2 on a weekend and come out there crying because you didn't lose the ring. You got a ring coming. The big thing, you got 2 wins. You might got 2 losses, but it didn't mess where your rankings is because you want the rankings to go up, whatever. And so, and it might have been a 3-2 game or whatever. Now you get beat 18-3, that might affect your rankings a little bit, So you might need to cry on that one. But what I'm getting at, it's hard, that a little bit of that's like, I want them to cry at the end of the season because they lost the regional. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want that. And we'll save a little money on rings every weekend if we could get into that. And then we'll get them something really cool. We'll get a ring and, a big trophy and stuff. So, we got some exciting stuff coming that we are going to talk about in the future that I've been working on slowly but surely. And it's coming together, though. If I get Starkville and Columbia going, then I think the rest of the state's going to pile in and say, hey, we want to do that. Even if it's just in the fall. Let's get a little taste of it in the fall, and then I really think it's going to start rolling into the spring too.
Awesome, I'm ready for it. So as we start to wrap this up, we mentioned keeping up with minor league players and all that. We obviously, you guys see we don't have our partner with us tonight, our third, Joe Gray, but Joe's getting ready. We announced on here a couple weeks ago that Joe is going to go play for the Lake Country Rockhounds in Independent League Baseball, and he is getting his stuff together and getting ready to move there. And they start. I've got their schedule pulled up. They start May 9th So their first game. So he's gonna get up there soon and get rolling. And
that's gonna be super fun to be able to. We might have to figure out a way to shift to Mondays because usually Monday is the day off. You see the schedule, so I don't know if we don't have a calendar. I have to use your phone, but
yeah, it's almost every Monday is their off day.
Yeah. So that's just like minor league. So, that'd be cool to kind of, or at least every other Monday or something. We can try to figure out a way to get in there, and talk to him about that because I think people will be really interested in hearing the day to day if he's able to. I know it's tough. It's tough. I think it'd be good for him to for a mental break. And speaking of, I'm gonna try to. Actually, I need to call him after we get off here. But Dalton Reeves, he's got a master's in mental performance, and I'm about to call him about a player that I got a phone call about today. That I'm gonna try to get him to work with. Same thing Allie does, but she's certified sports psychologist in mental performance. So his master's is in that. And but he went and auditioned, worked out for Savannah Bananas. And,
nice.
And he's going. So he's going to be playing with a team in Savannah. It's not the Bananas, but it's Banana Ball. I don't know if he really knows yet, but anyway, he's going. His brother plays for Mississippi State, so he's here. Been here. He played independent ball last year, just like Joe's doing, and he played at South Carolina. But great guy, he's been one of the ones I was scheduling to get on, and then this kind of happened. But I'm gonna bring him on, and I think that'll be cool if we can get him on. Because I know everybody is excited about Banana Ball.
Everybody loves that.
Yeah,
I saw today that Savannah Bananas sold out Clemson's football stadium, which I think it's like 83,000.
Well, they've been doing it. They done Vegas like too.
Yeah, it's something now. It's
a thing.
It's entertainment.
Well, it was on 60 Minutes this week too. And that was a big deal. Of course, people that didn't know about it just found out about it. People that watch 60 Minutes. So, so now the comparison is like, all right, when's it going to fade out? And of course,
right.
We'll have a whole other podcast on this, but they compared it to the Harlem Globetrotters.
I was going to say it's essentially the Harlem Globetrotters in a different sport.
So the Yellow Tux guy who's the owner. He's aware of that, and I'm a big aware person. So I'm like, he's aware of it, and he's doing things to make sure it doesn't fade out like the Harlem Globetrotters. And I think it's because of competition. He's going to make it competitive. And and so they started the Texas Tailgaters. That's going to be really fun. Hats off, Brandon Pennington from Pearl River Community College. He is a coach for the Texas Tailgaters now. They just announced last week. Awesome. So all kind of people are going to be involved with this kind of stuff, and it'd be people from communities like ours. We're surrounded by baseball guys, and it gives opportunities, just like a guy like Dalton, to do something like that, and then also like use his masters, with the mental performance. He still can help mentor kids and stuff, and having a platform, which I think is huge. And so, I don't know, it's cool. It's exciting. I think having something like that makes baseball more exciting too. Even former players that go and do it. I don't know. It's a thing. So I think we need to have a full episode on that and Banana Ball and
those guys have a real platform too. My dad sent me a video. Jackson likes Coach Rack that plays for the Savannah Bananas. He does a lot of YouTube stuff and things like that. So Jackson likes to watch Coach Rack, instructional videos and stuff. But he was watching a video the other day my dad sent to me that was Coach Rack talking about kind of like his testimony and being on a big stage, but trusting God's got him and that kind of stuff. I mean, it gives them a platform too.
Yeah, that's massive. I mean, so many kids are watching, and and no doubt, I mean, they're showing up for it, spending the money. Cub was, I don't know if he said it on the podcast, but talking about selling out Busch Stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, that's such a big deal.
It's nuts.
There, and so, I think it's a thing that could stick, and he's a genius, the Yellow Tux guy. And it's great. I think it makes baseball exciting, and you'll get people that maybe don't get into baseball as much, watch that, and then like learn some stuff. And then I had a guy call me today for lessons. He played football. He's from Atlanta, but told me knows nothing about baseball. He's got a 6-year-old son, wants lessons, and he was acting like he's not going to get real serious with it and stuff. Because I don't know nothing about it. And so, well, your kid might, if you might, there's like a guy like that, you might, if you watch a Savannah Banana, you're like, oh, well, my kid wants to play now. And it's just another avenue. It's just another route, and it's another thing. So yeah, I'd love to get Dalton on here and especially when he starts playing, because people are going to be interested in like how all that works.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, and good luck to Joe. Like I said, Joe's getting up there. We'll get Joe back on, talk to him, talked about him about how things are going.
I'll find out. I'm gonna be. I'll be in Friday. Be doing some lessons at the facility, and we got Easter Sunday coming up. Everybody go to church, go see the mama, do something. I'll be doing the same, and then we'll head back up and. Full week, and we got a couple weekends of good baseball. We'll go to Tupelo our next trip.
Okay, Tupelo.
Nice. Tupelo, honey. So it's about an hour away from here. And I think Allie, it's one of our friends' birthday, so we're gonna get some cabins up there. It's an hour away, just to kind of make it fun, because they don't. Kind of like Cub, they don't have, like St. Louis boys don't have to travel. We don't have to travel because we got Cornerstone.
Mm-hmm.
But kind of having something different is going to be good. So that's what.
Like I said earlier, we got South Haven coming up, and it's a good little ways from Hattiesburg. So that's a good trip. Good trip for us. But it's always fun up there, and there's always good competition up there. So
so it's not this weekend, but the next.
The next weekend.
Okay. Well, I might have to make a trip. I might go see y'all.
Yeah, we'll be up there.
I have to see. It's not too far from here, but I have to look at it. But yeah, South Haven's fun for sure. So, but tell Jackson I said congrats. I'll message you, but I know he's got them 2 balls probably in his room.
He got the balls. Yep, and I told him one of the first things he asked me was, did Coach Chancey share it on Facebook? On Instagram?
Mm-hmm.
I said, yeah. I said he shared it. It's on there.
Yeah.
So
I got you. Yeah. No, that was good. Super proud of him, and that's fun. He can check that box off now.
Yep. So, well, I'll get you the video of that cut 3 also.
Oh yeah, give me that.
Proud of that. So
for sure. Post on the small ball Instagram. Because y'all got that cool home run chain. I saw.
Yeah. I'll put it on there. I'll put those on
the story or something. Some folks like to see that.
Absolutely. Well, I'm Charlie Rogers. He's Chancey Rogers. This has been the Small Ball Podcast. We appreciate all of you being here. We will be back with you next week. We'll see when we can get Joe back on here, talk about independent league baseball life, how that's going for him. But until next week, we appreciate you and good night.
Good night.